Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward children. I intend to talk about important topics in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. Please like, share, and subscribe. So now, let's get started. Our guest for episode 66 is school board candidate Dawn Pulliam. My friend Dawn was born and raised in Maryland. She received her entire education from Maryland's public school system, including her undergraduate and graduate degrees from the University of Maryland, College Park. Dawn spent 23 years at the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, followed by 4 years in private industry. Dawn has been very, very busy this past year supporting the Department of Defense in a pilot program that aims to create a talent pipeline for civilians. Dawn has developed and delivered programs that focus on providing students the tools and skills needed for lifelong success. As part of this, she has designed a hands-on learning experience for students that tackles real-world problems, and some even requiring a security clearance. In the community, Dawn works with parents to help them prepare their students and their children for college. She has been actively serving the community, working specifically with Southern High School in Arundel County. She looks forward to meeting parents and community members and teachers to learn more about their experiences and concerns with the education system. Dawn, how are you doing?
Fine. How are you doing?
I am outstanding, and I see that logo behind you. Looks like you're running for school board.
Absolutely, Bernie. Thank you for having me today. It's such a pleasure being here.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and I got some questions that I want to ask you that I think that our audience would like to know about you. And I know a lot about you, but they need to know about you. So, without any further ado, would you mind if I ask?
Sure, go ahead. I'm
Right,
delighted.
here we go. So, tell us about your campaign. What made
Well, for those of you I have not had the chance to meet with, a little secret. Education in the community are my heart, period. I received my entire education right here in the Maryland public school system. And it's that public school education that prepared me for this position. And I wear those degrees as a badge of honor. In terms of the campaign, it is going great. The team and I are on the ground working in the community to get the message and the name out there. I do get discouraged when I go to meetings and the top discussion items are social agenda issues versus academics. However, I will tell you the parents and teachers are right there holding my feet to the fire on addressing the academic decline. And that's what's truly
on the
refreshing.
program? But I got another question for you. You ready?
Sure.
What made you run for Anne Arundel County Board of Education?
Great question. I actually see this as being multifaceted. There are three reasons that actually led me to running, Bernie. And first and foremost, it's the community. I had current and former elected officials call me and ask me and encourage me to run. That was the first check mark and getting the support from them. I was grateful and humbled for them to even think of me. However, it was the parents and the teachers that caught my attention. Parents and teachers are frustrated with what is being taught in the classroom, the outcomes, and the learning environment itself. They don't feel that they are being heard. I had one teacher that pulled me aside and said, I need you to run. And the next thing that came out of that teacher's mouth was, if you don't run, I will consider walking away from the classroom. And I had to stop right there in my tracks and say, wait a minute. We have a teacher that not only makes a positive impact in the classroom, makes a positive impact in these students in their lives once they walk out of the classroom and then in the community. We cannot have quality teachers walking away and feeling that they do not have the support, they don't have the resources, and they don't have the champion there to help them execute what is needed in that classroom. Second, it's personal, Bernie. I have a policy background, and I do not believe in big government. I actually think the government needs to be trimmed, and we've had those conversations before. However, the government does have a responsibility to provide a quality education to each and every child, along with safety in our community. Again, requirement to provide quality education. And this is the one tool that changes a student's future, as it did my very own future. I was brought up by a single mom that did not have the funds to send me to private school or homeschool. I am blessed because that quality education brought me to where I am today and put me on a career trajectory so that I can now have the skills and expertise to get back and help my community and be a proven leader in creating programs to help students prosper into the workforce. So very important there. Last and third is professionally. I have worked in this field for almost 28 years, and I have seen for some time the decline in U.S. education from various perspectives. It's just not here at the local level. It's at the national and international level. I spent a good portion of my career creating programs to prepare students for college and the workforce. But quite honestly, I take it personal when we have a continuous decline in outcomes in my own backyard, and I have the expertise and skills needed to turn that ship around.
And Dawn, if I may, this is a very wealthy area comparatively. There's no excuse for us to be failing or retreating in the education world. And I just applaud what you're doing. And that's why I've been seeking after you coming on the program. But I got another question for you. You ready?
Sure.
Anne Arundel County, their school board budget is more than $1 billion. That's a lot of money. Do you believe that the budget is properly allocated? And also, if so, or if not, what changes would you like to see?
You have to remember, Bernie, I am not only a taxpayer, but I have led multi-million-dollar education programs. I have worked across industry, government, and academia. And based on my experience, I cannot be convinced at this point that the taxpayer is receiving their return on investment. And quite honestly, the numbers simply are not matching up. Think about it. Let's just take a step back here and put it into perspective. Our county taxes continue to increase. And over half of those taxes are going to education. So what I'm saying here, you and I, Bernie, our tax, that is us. We are paying more than half of our taxes to education, whether we have children or not. The Board of Education budget went from $1 billion to $1.67 billion, nearly doubled since 2017. Okay. But more importantly, we are facing alarming outcomes from our investments. And what do I mean by that? Let's just look at some of the numbers here. 37% of third graders are proficient in reading, meaning 67% are not. In 2022, Anne Arundel County had 28 schools with the 5-star rating. 1 year later, Anne Arundel County had 9 schools with the 5-star rating. And when you think about the Maryland rankings overall for high schools, we've had a steady decline there as well. And if you think about District 7, South River is one of our shining stars. In 2020, they were ranked 14 across the state of Maryland. In 2023, ranked 22. Again, so that list goes on and on. We are declining in graduation rates, dropout rates. and are actually increasing in dropout rates and declining in college enrollment. But it's not just the rankings and those numbers. If you look at it from a budgeting perspective, just two data points that I'd like to share with you, and my good friend Latoya wrote an article on this in the Capitol. As I mentioned, each and every child deserves a quality education. That does not exclude factions, such as special needs students. Their budget was decreased by over $1 million, Bernie, $1 million. We already have parents leaving the county and the state due to the lack of resources and support for their children. And then you're going to reduce that budget. It just doesn't, it's just not appropriate. It's unacceptable. And then also another data point is the transportation that supported internships and jobs, getting students so they can, excel in our community. That budget has also decreased. So for me, the numbers are not they're not adding up. And I want to go back to this because with any, as you know, with any program that you lead and run, you identify your goals, the objectives, and the outcomes that you want to achieve based on those goals and outcomes. And the funding then should align. We must have transparency moving forward in our budget and refocus our attention on meeting these outcomes. It's unacceptable and it must stop. So thank you for that.
Totally understand. This is dead serious business, and this is our future because, one day we're going to be retired.
Right.
Like me, I got a lot of years on you. I'm not going to say how many, but the issue today, eventually we will all hope to get to retirement. And those third graders that you are working with right now will eventually be the workforce. And so I applaud the fact that you're thinking about them. But hey, I got another question for you. You ready?
Yeah, sure thing. I one more thing. My little nephew is about to start in the public school system, so I definitely have a huge investment there. So let's move on. Thank you.
Investment is the right word. But you mentioned on your website that you want to restore academic excellence. So tell us what you mean by that.
Sure, Bernie. And as we were mentioning with the budget, it's really looking, what is it that over the past few years, it looks as if we have really changed our direction priorities to more of the social agenda. And what I am proposing is that we focus our attention back in the classroom. That's what we're here for. We are here to make sure that the principals get the right resources and tools so that teachers can teach and provide a proper education so that students will be successful and have an opportunity to be successful and be productive citizens in our community. And so what I mean by that, I look at it at four key areas. First, and I think you'll agree with this, and especially coming from the military, Bernie, it really starts with discipline and a distraction-free learning environment.
Totally
If
agree.
teachers, right, teachers are not able to provide the proper instruction, when you have phones going off, when you have disciplinary issues, when students are being disrespectful to the teacher and being disrespectful to other students within the classroom, we have to take control back in the classroom. It doesn't matter how great of a curriculum you have, because I know the curriculum, these teachers out there, they're doing their best. It's not about that. But if they don't have discipline and a distraction-free learning environment, then nothing else matters. Might as well just go home.
Totally agree.
Second, academics. We need to redirect the maximum funding in the classroom for reading, writing, arithmetic, and a key word, critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get the students back to the question of why. Why are we doing this? Not being told what to think, but having them question, and critical thinking is huge. We want to stay away from the social agendas.
Yes.
Next, parental involvement. As I mentioned earlier, they are a key, and it's not just parents, it's also caregivers, right? We need the parents and the caregivers to have a seat at that table, and we must be transparent with them, and we need to build the bond with them. I am not here. No teacher is there to say how a parent is going to raise their child, but that parent needs to be there to make sure they enforce the rules and what is happening, the learning exercises. They need to be a part of the solution, not have a seat on the outside. Full stop. And then next, we got to keep the boys out of the girls' locker rooms, Bernie. And I know that's the elephant in the room, but I'm not staying away from that. I am a former athlete, and being a girl in athletic sports, when you're talking about these issues, these are serious. I believe that boys need to stay out of the girls' locker room, period.
I can't agree with you more.
So those are my 4 areas. We need to keep politics out of the classroom. And that's really the 4th and last one.
There you go. Even though you mentioned politics, I mean, I know you're running in a nonpartisan race. It's, you're supposed to be balanced here, but we're conservative. So let's just lay that out there. And so with that said, I don't have any disagreement with anything that you've said today. Right now, the floor is yours. People want to hear from you. What would you say to the people right now?
This is a serious time for our community. Very serious time. It doesn't matter whether you have children in the public school system, whether you have grandchildren, whether you don't have children, whether you're just a community member. This race is not just some down ballot race. This is the future of our community. Education, public education, it's the #1 driver on whether or not a community is successful. People come to a community because of public education. They leave because of the public school education. They don't leave and come because of the private school. They'll drive to it. We have the value of your home. A lot of that's based on public school education. We also have crime in our communities. There's a correlation between that. It's all interrelated. Businesses, they are hiring our students. They want successful students that are prepared, that can count change, Bernie, and that can read. It is important. They also want to be able to help in that preparation. So whether or not you have children, you don't have children, I've had people say, I don't have a dog in this race. You live here, you have a dog in this race.
Yes, you do.
And as you mentioned, 30 years from now, these children will be making decisions for our future. And at some point, you are not going to be able to say, how did this happen? Because as my former boss said once, you sometimes will have to take your 2 fingers and point them directly in your own eyes, because we will be the reason that this has happened. We are here today because of the way that we vote. Full stop.
There you
Nothing else. We have a serious situation going on. Globally, we are failing. Science technology is leading the way, and we can't keep up even at the best levels of academic excellence at the best schools.
Yeah.
We can't due to quantum computing and AI. We are not able to keep up. We right now are in a situation where we have career and college readiness pathways, but they're not being fully funded, Bernie.
Yeah.
Why is that? We've doubled the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Turn our focus back into the classroom. I need parents' help to say, I do see why this is important. I do want to help. I want community members to stop thinking if they don't have children, it doesn't matter to them. It does matter. I don't have children, and I am in this fight. I need everyone's help because it affects every part of the ecosystem in our community, our state, and our nation.
I tell you, I'm inspired I've always been inspired by you, but especially now because you're just so passionate about this stuff and you got the academics to back it up. So that's why I'm behind you. So, with that said, how can people reach you if they need to?
Oh, so that's easy. Dawn Pulliam, the number four, BOE.com. So it's DAWNPULLIAM, the number four, BOE.com, or on my Facebook page, Dawn Pulliam for BOE on both of those, or either email Dawn Pulliam, the number four, BOE@gmail. And I'd be delighted to hear from the community members. It's a discussion. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'll tell you, I have gone into these situations. I've turned programs around, Bernie. We have an opportunity here. And I know we can turn this ship around if we focus on what's important, and that's academics in the classroom.
John, you may very well be the smartest person in the room. Don't sell yourself short. We got a lot of things in common, and you and Latoya and a few of the other ones, I'm just hoping that you guys win, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you in your nonpartisan race. And you're just an outstanding candidate, and I want to support you all the way to victory. So with that said, is there anything else you'd like to say to the people?
Do what's right. Fight for our kids. Fight for our future. And we'll be good. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, you take care of yourself. And if you need me for anything, you know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you, Bernie.
You have a great day. Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Fallback Productions and other podcasters. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to get your copy of my book, Black Values Matter, available as an ebook on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. And also, it's okay to disagree, but if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility from ourselves and our fellow citizens. Thanks for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. See you next week.